Hey yappers, welcome back to Binge, Yap, Repeat. Today, we are diving into season 1 of Netflix's true crime docuseries, Worst Neighbor Ever. We break down each case and discuss the people, what could have gone differently, and whether justice was served. If you work in a legal profession, please let us know if we got anything wrong about the criminal justice system, because fair warning, most of our knowledge is from Googling live during the episode. And with that, let's buckle in. Our episode starts now. Hello, yappers, and welcome back to another episode of Binge, Yap, Repeat. I'm your host, Ruchi.
And I'm Shalini.
And this episode is all about 4 different episodes of Worst Neighbor Ever, which is an American true crime docuseries on Netflix. The series premiered on July 1st, 2026, and serves as a spin-off of Worst Roommate Ever and a similar series, Worst Ex Ever. Disclaimer, Shalini and I have not seen Worst Roommate Ever or Worst Ex Ever, but we will let you know by the end of this episode if we will watch those series and do an BYR episode on it.
Great hook.
Thanks. Stay tuned and you'll find out. Okay, so just to set the stage a little bit, this episode is a little bit different because there are 4 stories. Is that the right word? 4 cases?
Yeah.
I'll say cases. There's 4 cases that this show deals with. So every episode is an individual case. So Shalini and I are going to try something different here where we're going to kind of my favorite murder style talk about these cases. So Shalini is going to kick us off with episode 1, She Finally Snapped.
Oh my gosh, this episode was crazy. Okay, this first episode, She Finally Snapped. Basically, what happens is Shauna and her whole extended family live in a very, kind of connected, large plot of land in rural Kentucky. And she and her husband Dave have recently moved back to that town. They move into one of the houses on that giant plot of land. Her aunt's across the street, her parents are across the street, everybody's very, very close. There's this woman that re-enters their lives. Her name is Frances. She used to stay with Shauna's aunt? Mom?
I think maybe their
Family?
family in
Yeah.
general. Yeah.
She was a little bit older than Shauna, but had a difficult home situation, so kind of lived with Shauna's family for a while. And so Shauna's known her for a long time. Frances is planning to buy one of the houses on that same little area of land. And while the house is getting fixed up, she asks Shauna if she can move in. And at first it's fine. Shauna and Dave are kind of just trying to be good hosts, but then soon Frances starts taking advantage of the situation, trying to control the hosts that have so graciously welcomed her into their home. She's kind of mean to their grandson, Owen, which is so sad when they showed Owen, the cartoon Owen, crying on the tricycle. And then she moves. And then at some point, Shauna loses it and is like, girl, you gotta move out. So then Frances moves out. She moves into the house across the street. And then things just get worse from there. She is clearly quite racist. Also, Dave is black, which is why that comes into play. Clearly racist, just starts provoking everybody across the street. So she is mowing her lawn naked and calling the cops every 2 days on their family and just doing these crazy things trying to make them angry. And she finally, now I'm forgetting exactly what happened. Is it basically Frances has been provoking her for a while. Shauna snaps. That is not who this episode title is about, but Shauna does snap. She punches Frances. Frances is like, she assaulted me, even though I don't think Frances was hurt at all. But then she uses this as ammunition to just continuously try to get Shauna arrested and put in prison. And she at some point succeeds for a little bit, but then um once the case gets to court, the judge totally throws it out. But Frances is just on a rampage, and basically by the end she has just completely convinced herself that Shauna and Dave are out to get her. So then Frances one day comes over with a gun, shoots Shauna in the face, shoots Dave twice in the chest. I don't remember.
Through his ring finger.
Oh, that's right. Through
Yeah,
the
and
ring
into his
finger
chest.
into his chest. Shauna somehow makes it after being shot in the face. Dave unfortunately passes away, and Francis is put in jail for many, many years. However, could go on probation or could be let out on probation in 2038, which is rather soon, I would say.
Yes. So on January 12th, 2022, Frances Zaire pleaded guilty to murder, second-degree assault, and wanton endangerment. She received a 35-year sentence and will be eligible for parole in 2038, which is
Mm.
coming up.
And only 16 years after she was put in prison, even though she got a 35-year sentence.
Okay, so question, how does parole work?
So, parole is the conditional early release of a prison inmate to serve the remainder of their sentence in the community, so no longer in prison, but under the supervision of a parole officer. For crimes with determinate sentences, fixed terms, just like Francis' 35 years, an inmate is usually released automatically once they serve a mandated percentage of their sentence, often 50 to 85%. So, I don't know why it happens. I guess if they're on good behavior for the first X percentage of their time in prison, they're eligible for parole. Maybe it's a way to manage resources in the prison or something. Um, but yeah.
And what are the circumstances where someone would be denied parole?
Parole would be denied when a parole board determines that the incarcerated person remains a threat to public safety or has not shown sufficient rehabilitation. So maybe if the severity of the offense is really high, or if they've misbehaved in prison, so any disciplinary infractions while in prison, etc. Or if it sounds kind of subjective as well. If they show a lack of insight or remorse, the parole board
Mm,
could determine that they are not worthy of parole. So there
okay.
are a lot of factors.
Okay. Well, Frances does not seem like the type to show remorse, so hopefully her parole gets denied.
She probably still thinks she's the victim of this entire situation.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
And so, okay, you mentioned something about a determinate sentence, which Frances got. What about an indeterminate sentence?
For indeterminate sentences, inmates must appear before a state appointed board. Oh, wait, this is okay. Sorry, I think I misspoke. So the parole board is for indeterminate sentences.
Oh,
For
okay.
determinate sentences, I think they're automatically released on parole after they've served a certain percentage.
Automatically?
I maybe assuming that they haven't done any other, like, assuming they've behaved well in prison.
So Shauna's biggest fear, which is that Frances will get parole in 2038, is an extremely valid concern.
Yes. Unless Frances loses her shit in prison, which let's all pray for that.
If there are any yappers who are currently listening in the same prison, no, that's not.
Provoke her! Provoke her!
Oh my God. Oh, that's so messed up. Oh my God.
Incarcerated yappers.
I think the biggest misgiving about this entire situation, from what Shauna said in the episode, is that they were they received a plea deal from Francis Zaire's lawyer, and they accepted that plea deal because they wanted to put all of the stuff behind them. But in accepting the plea deal, it feels like they got Frances got a lighter sentence because she is eligible for parole, and she did get a 35-year determinate sentence which it feels like she can only serve however many years. What is it like? She got that sentence in 2022 and she was arrested in like 2018. So she's served 12, oh, no, sorry, math, 8 years. She served 8 years out of that 35-year sentence, and she's eligible for parole in 12 years. So, like, where, I don't know, like, what is the right situation? Like, what would you do in this scenario? Would you have accepted the plea deal as well, or would you have, like, taken her to court?
That's a great question. I mean, for sure. I mean, I'll preface everything I'm saying with I have not been in this situation, so I cannot judge what Shauna and her family decided to do at all. But I feel like they had a really good case if they had chosen to take it to court. And so I think it's very likely that Frances could have gotten a much longer sentence. And so because of that, I'm inclined to say that they should have gone to court with it and not accepted the plea deal. But I can also understand that they didn't want to go through this whole thing again, relive Dave's death, relive all of the misery that she put them through for the next 2 years or whatever, however long it takes for this to go through court. So, definitely can't judge, but it's such a shame that I do think they had a really strong case.
Yeah. I'm also kind of shocked that pleading guilty to murder gets you a 35-year sentence. Was that like
Yeah.
part of the plea deal, or like is that like what like where did that come from? I'm shocked. I'm shocked that it's, I mean, I want to say only 35 years for taking someone's life intentionally. Almost two people's lives.
So, my understanding of plea deals is that it is a way to circumvent the court system so a judge is not involved in the sentence. And so it is up to the lawyers and their clients to decide what is fair within the plea deal. So Francis's lawyer was like, let's try a plea with 35 years. Let's just see if they'll go for it. You're already like what, 45? I don't remember how old she is, but she looked like she was maybe in her 40s, 50s.
Oh yeah, that's a good
Um
question. I think she was 15 in the 1980s.
okay. So let's say she was born in 1970. So at this
Yeah.
point she would be like 56. Okay.
Mhm.
And then in 4 years ago she would have been like okay, early 50s. So yeah, the lawyer maybe was like, "You're in your early 50s. If they hear a 35-year sentence to you, like to them that'll sound like life, but you could get out in 16 years on good behavior." And so Francis was like, "Okay, cool, let's go for it." And then they approach the prosecution side, or yeah, whatever, I guess Shauna's side, and they're like, "Hey, what about this plea deal?" And then Shauna's family is like, "Okay, let's do that. Let's avoid the
Mm,
courts."
what a shame. I mean, I understand their situation. I totally understand that they would just want to put it behind them, especially because it feels like the family is so close and probably, I don't know. I don't know if there's still some kind of familial feelings towards Frances because she did seem to be in a very bad situation when she was young. When she was like 15 or 16, her family, her home life was bad enough that she had to stay with Shauna's family. And it doesn't seem like the divorce was good for her either. So I think it does seem like Frances has had a hard life, not excusing her choices in the slightest. But I wonder if Shauna's family still felt a little bit, maybe something there that they would have rather just accept the plea deal and make it all go away rather than like go to court and fight it for longer. I wonder if
Yeah.
that was a factor in their decision.
I think that's such a good point. Like maybe they just still it's like as if one of their daughters did this to another daughter and they're like, "Okay, well, yeah, I don't know. Maybe that was going through their mind."
Maybe. I mean, maybe not for Shauna, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
Just
it's so tragic, and it's especially tragic that the person who ended up being The victim of all of this was Dave, who A, was not blood related to any of them, and B, was the one trying to de escalate things all the time. So
Yeah.
heartbreaking.
Yeah, and the fact that he was so stressed about this whole situation that even his coworkers could tell. And the day of his funeral, I wanted to highlight this. I think they said something like over, wait, let me make sure I get the number right. Um, Over 850 people at the funeral. That's when you know that you've
Wow.
made a big impact in your community.
Yeah, what a pillar of the community, truly.
Yeah.
If
All
you
right.
were
Oh,
if you
yeah,
were
go ahead.
Dave, would you have done anything differently in this situation?
I don't know what I would have done differently. I think that's the heartbreaking thing about all of these episodes, cases. They're all like, this is a reasonable thing for anyone to do, and it still ends in tragedy.
Totally. Especially like I when I saw the show was called Worst Neighbor Ever, my first response was like, just move. But like
Yeah,
it's
it's
not
not
that
that
simple
simple.
when your entire family lives on this one plot of land and you're going over to each other's houses for cookouts all the time. Like you can't just leave.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like being in New York when all your friends are in the Bay Area.
Oh. Oh. Or being in Seattle when all your friends are in the Bay Area.
Oh. Oh, man. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think there's anything that Dave could have done?
I don't know, cause I at some points when Shauna was like, "I wanted to call the police," but Dave said, "No, let's just, like, let it play out or whatever." I was like, "Dude, just call the police." But then I also understand as a black man not wanting to involve the police when it's, like, you against a white woman, you know? In Kentucky,
Maybe.
I don't know.
But also, like, what would the police have done? It's like the police were involved, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah. But I feel like they were getting such a biased view of what was happening because they were never really hearing Shauna and Dave's point of view. Although
Mm,
it kind of sounded like they weren't really taking Frances seriously anyway. Hence why
yeah.
she decided to take matters into her own hands.
Yeah. I mean, I think wasn't there a 911 call where Shauna talked she like
Yeah, she called
called the
about
police
her
about
being naked,
exactly, yeah.
which
About
is
her being naked and
not
then
illegal in Kentucky. Oh, Kentucky.
wait, is it illegal in California to be naked?
I think, I mean, for sure, like public nudity is illegal. I don't know if it matters if you're on your own property, if you're visible to the public. Let's look it up. If
If
you
you catch
are
the
in
eye of someone who is technically in public while you are on your private property.
Okay, my question is, if you're in California and you're on your own property, but outside and you're nude and people can see you, is that illegal?
Gemini be like, okay, Miss Richie Rich, you on your property and
You
you outside?
you have outdoors on your property in California?
That's crazy.
Okay, in California, being nude on your own private property is not inherently illegal. However, under California Penal Code 314 PC, it can be considered the crime of indecent exposure if you intentionally expose yourself in public view for the purpose of sexual arousal, gratification, or to intentionally offend others. So,
Intentionally offend others.
yeah. So I feel like they could have gotten her on that if they were in California.
Hmm. But Kentucky doesn't have anything like that.
I'm saying, what about Kentucky? Oh, what? This says in Kentucky, being nude on your own private property is illegal if you can be seen by the public and your exposure causes alarm or offense.
There you
What?
go.
What the? Damn, the police failed this family.
Dude, tale as old as time. Literally in
Classic.
all of these docu-series, it's like, here's how the police could have done better.
Yeah. I think that's true for 1 and 3, but I actually don't know for 2 and 4.
Ooh, we shall
Oh,
discuss.
nice.
Okay, I'm gonna ask this question for every episode, but finally, do you think justice was served?
Yes, but I fear for 2038.
Yes. I think justice was not served. I
Mm,
think Frances Sawyer and her lawyer kind of took advantage of this family situation and lowballed them into a plea deal that they kind of felt like they had to accept.
mm, that's fair. That's fair.
Welp, here's
Well,
hoping that Frances Sawyer's parole gets denied in 2038.
provoke her.
Oh my god.
And rest in peace, Dave. You seem like such a lovely person.
Rest in peace, Dave. Such a pillar of the community. All right, next case.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. This case is called the Midwest Meltdown.
Ooh,
All right,
meltdown. More like blow up.
oh my god. Man, this one's also really sad, but okay, this one takes place in Richmond Hill, Indiana. I hope I can do a good job summarizing this. Essentially, Richmond Hill, Indiana is this very, I guess, like middle class neighborhood, very family oriented. We've got a few key characters here. We've got the main characters, I guess, Muncie, her husband, John, at the time. I think this was in 2009. Uh, and their daughter, Brooke, and their cat, Snowball. So they're in one house, and the orientation of the houses are very important. On the right side of Muncie's house is Jennifer and Dion, and I think they have a dog, Pepper. And on the other side of Muncie's house is Gloria. And then next to Gloria is some other random house that they didn't really talk about. And then next to them is Abby. So you've got Abby, Gloria, Muncie, Jen, and Dion in this neighborhood of Richmond Hill. So Abby and Muncie are really, really close friends. They have been close friends ever since Muncie moved in around, I think it was like 2003 or so, like to the point where Abby baptizes Muncie. Like they are extremely, extremely close. Muncie has this air about her. I think she's Puerto Rican. She is a nurse, but she has this air of being like very fancy. She's like extremely put together, like definitely cares about her appearance. She's like this type of person.
Has
Um,
a Karen haircut.
yes, unfortunately. Actually, a lot of people in this series had a
That's
Karen
true. That
haircut.
is true.
It's very unfortunate. Um, okay, so let's fast forward to 2009. In 2009, Muncie files for divorce from her husband, John. So John moves out of Richmond Hill. So Muncie is basically in this big house with just her daughter and her cat. And everyone's thinking, like, is that house feels really big for just the two of them? Like, maybe they'll move out, maybe not. I don't know what's going to happen. But something starts shifting in Muncie's and Muncie and Abby's relationship. So basically, after the divorce from John, Muncie starts talking about just like it's not very clear from the way that Abby describes what Muncie has said, but it's kind of implied that Muncie is like talking about her sexual escapades. And Abby, as a woman of God, is really not into this. And it basically gets to the point where Abby is like, hey, I don't think we can be friends anymore because we need to be role models for our children and we cannot like I can't believe you're saying these things to me. Um, so yes, very curious what the tea is. So anyway, their relationship gets frayed and they're basically not really friends anymore. They'll like do that thing where they if they see each other and make eye contact and they're like 40 feet apart, they'll like nod and say hi, but like that's about it. It's nothing like the relationship before where they would like go over to each other's houses and have dinner like 3 or 4 times a week. Very sad. Fast forward to 2011, Muncie is dating again. She introduces Abby to her new boyfriend, Mark Leonard. Abby's like, this guy is quite a character. And I think Abby says that Muncie introduces Mark to her, saying that this is Mark. He has a lot of money. And then Abby's like, okay, then why is he moving into your house?
Yeah.
If he has a lot of money.
Such a good point.
Such a good point. And then she also notices that Mark has an ankle monitor on, and she's like, this guy is shady AF. So
the presence of unexplained ankle monitors in this show was crazy.
You'll see it again in case number 4. But yes, so they have a very interesting relationship, Muncie and Mark. They are going around the neighborhood. They are like heavy PDA. They're like making out all over the place. The other interesting thing that is happening is Mark is driving his white van all over the place, and they are just constantly loading furniture into this white van from Muncie's house. And everyone's like, what is going on? Are they like having a secret yard sale, or what is happening? Fast forward to November 10th, 2012. It's been a great day in Richmond Hill. Just one of those days where you're like just chatting around like with your neighbors, just seeing your kids play around. It's great. It's a lot of fun. At 11:10 p.m., Gloria, next door neighbor to Muncie, is on her couch, and she turns to her husband and says, I think I might go to bed soon. And then everything goes black. So what has happened is that Muncie's house has freaking exploded, and no one knows what the hell is going on. There are like several 911 calls. Everyone's like, I think a bomb went off, or like, I think a gun went off. Like something terrible has happened. All the neighbors are streaming out of their houses, and they see Muncie's house is literally in flames. Gloria on one side, her house is also completely like shattered. Gloria is like pinned by her roof rafters, or like roof support beams. She can't call for help. Her husband is pinned too. Her son is pinned too. Everyone is pinned down by these roof beams. On the other side of Muncie's house is Jennifer and Dion's house, who've also completely engulfed in flames. Everything has like crushed on top of them. Muncie's house is completely obliterated. There's almost like nothing to even salvage there. And so all of the neighbors are basically now trying to triage and trying to make sure that everyone gets to safety within this neighborhood. They find out in the aftermath that there are 2 black flags from the triage, which is Jennifer and Dion, who have unfortunately not made it because they weren't able to be rescued in time. And it was almost Gloria's fate too, that she almost wasn't rescued in time, to the point that I think the firefighter came and kind of like grabbed her. And as he's grabbing her, she hears someone outside being like, just leave her, she's not going to make it. And so, but he grabs her and he rescues her, and it's great. And the day is saved for Gloria, but unfortunately not for Jennifer and Dion.
Poor Jennifer and Dion. And Pepper.
And Pepper. Yeah. Very sad. So here's what happened. The tea is that Muncie and Mark basically are trying to run this insurance scheme where they have tried to explode this house 3 times. And they finally succeed on November 10th, 2012, which is just horrible. So the question is still remaining, what the hell happened? It turns out that this guy who comes to inspect what has gone on with this fire explosion thing that has happened, he comes to inspect and he notices a lot of weird things going on with this house. There are no items. There's like no pieces of furniture in the house. There are TV remotes, but there are no TVs.
Do you think they left the remotes on purpose?
Probably.
To like make it seem like there are objects in this house?
Yeah, right?
But where did they put their TV, and why do they not need a remote anymore?
Yeah. Unclear. Or maybe they just like bought fake remotes or something to like put
Crazy.
it in. Or maybe they just forgot the remote entirely. Who knows?
Maybe.
I don't know. But yeah, it's super weird. And then the gas guy, I don't what's his real title? Should I just call him gas
The
guy?
gassy guy.
That's me.
A big old gas man.
The gas investigator. I'll say that.
Okay.
The gas investigator man is like looking through all of the valves and the pipes that deliver natural gas to the house, and he realizes that there is no step down valve, which is basically regulates the amount of gas coming into the house, and there's also no Dante valve, which further dysregulates the amount of natural gas coming into the house. So basically, like the two mechanisms with which you regulate how much gas is coming into a home are both missing.
So
So
gas
he's
is pouring into this house.
pouring in. But he says, okay, so gas is pouring into this house. That's unsafe, but you still need an ignition source. So he like keeps looking around in this house, and he finds out that he finds the microwave, and the microwave is like totally busted, almost inside out. Think of that, an inside out microwave. And he's like, what the heck is this? And in the microwave, he also finds this like he finds like a metal cylinder or something. And so
Yeah.
he also finds the manual to the microwave, realizes that it's a delay start microwave, and there is a metal cylinder that is in this microwave, which is basically the ignition source that explodes this entire house with the explosion force of 3 tons of TNT.
Insane. Fucking
Insane.
psychopaths. God.
Yeah.
And Muncie and her man Mark are in a casino, but like doing the shadiest shit. And they should know that casinos have cameras everywhere. They play slot machine for like 2 minutes and then sit at a bar and just wait for the explosion to happen. Like
Yes.
absolute dumbasses.
And this is the shady part. The shadiest part of all of this is that I mentioned they had done it 3 times, right? So 3 back-to-back weekends, they had gone to this casino. They had boarded their cat for 1 day. Back-to-back weekends, they had boarded their cat for 1 day. Brooke is at a babysitter for 3 weekends back-to-back. So that's how you know all of this stuff is intentional. And the shadiest part of all is that they went to this casino and they did not book a room.
Oh my god, so stupid.
All of this to get insurance money totaled at $300,000.
Crazy. Crazy.
Crazy. So there is a little bit of justice though. On December 21st, 2012, there were 3 arrests for Muncie, Mark Leonard, and Mark's brother, Bob Leonard, who was actually the one who started the microwave basically when Muncie and Mark were at the casino. And Muncie then decided to cooperate with the police force to lower her sentence. And the sentences are as follows. Bob Leonard gets 2 life sentences and 70 years no parole. Mark Leonard gets 2 life sentences plus 75 years. I assume no parole, but also he actually died in 2018 in prison due to natural causes. And then Muncie gets 50 years, and that's the
Damn.
Midwest meltdown.
There was one funny line, I think it was Gloria, where she was like, Mark was the mastermind. No one wants to call him a mastermind because he wasn't smart. I was like, damn. Pop off, queen.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I guess like the other thing that I glossed over is that there was another kind of side story in 2009. This woman, Joanne, matches with Mark on a dating site, and they are dating for 3 months. And then Mark hits her with the classic, hey, can I borrow $10,000? She's like, no way. But then attends church where they talk about generosity. And she's like, Fine, I'll give you the $10,000. And he just runs away with it.
And then when she tries to file a claim, the courts are like, there are so many claims against this man for exactly the same thing. She's like,
Yeah.
fuck.
Yeah.
That was, oh man. That actually reminded me, did you watch the docu-series, or I don't remember if it was a series or a documentary, the Tinder Swindler?
Yes, I
Yeah, it
did.
reminded me of that.
Dude, all these men, what is with the $10,000 number? Like, men are just like, that's in their brains. They're
Yeah.
just, hey, can I borrow $10,000? Like, what?
Just like real quick.
It's so weird. Like, I guess it's not, it's like a nice round number, but I just feel like all the dating swindling men always ask for $10,000. If
Yeah.
anyone asks you for $10,000, no, it's a scam. They ask you for 11,000, it might be real.
Ugh. Oh man, this case is crazy. Do you think justice was served?
I think yes, because I think everyone is going to be in prison for the rest of their life. And I think
Yeah.
that's absolutely what they deserve. Like, it's
Yeah.
such a despicable act, what they did.
Absolutely so selfish. Already sinister, and then because of your carelessness, it became like such a tragedy. And I think something like 60 homes were ruined or something in that development.
Yeah, something like that. 60 homes were ruined. I think like dozens of people were injured. Of
Yeah.
course, like Jennifer and Dion,
And
and
Pepper.
Pepper. And yeah, okay, this is the other thing that really pisses me off is that they boarded their cat. So like the cat gets a pass, but your neighbors don't.
Crazy. I mean, presumably they didn't think it would affect the neighbors' houses. They didn't realize how big the explosion was. But yeah, like just so negligent.
How could this situation have been avoided? Do you think it could have been avoided?
I don't know. This one, I have no idea what they could have done because it's not like they were afraid of what Mark and Muncie were doing for a period of time where they could have called the cops and like nipped it in the bud or anything. They had no
Yeah.
idea what was going on. They were just living their lives. And so I really feel like there's nothing they could have done to prevent this other than like being more curious about why all that furniture was leaving the house, but like you're not gonna go
You're not
into your
going to
neighbor's
question it.
house. Yeah, you're not gonna question it. So yeah.
Yeah. I guess the one thing that I was a little bit confused about is why Mark went for this insurance scheme fraud versus his normal ask for $10,000 and then hit it, quit it.
Maybe because this could have paid out $300,000.
You know, I never considered that.
He's moving on up in the world. He's like, I'm done with these $10,000 per woman schemes. Give me
Despicable.
300.
Um, the other thing that I kind of laughed at is they got info about the natural gas scheme and what it would take to actually explode the house from a man at the Gaslight Inn. You can't write
Nice.
that.
Can't make this shit up.
Can't make this shit up. I was like, really? Yeah. Um, do you think justice was served?
Yes, I do think the fact that Mark and his brother got multiple life sentences and Muncie will be spending the rest of her life in prison. I think that's as much justice as you could hope for in the situation, so
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. Yeah. Well, rest in peace, Jennifer and Dion. You guys
And
seem like great people.
Pepper.
You keep saying Aunt Pepper, and I keep forgetting, and I'm really sorry about that. I'm so sorry,
Justice for
Pepper.
Pepper!
And Pepper.
Do you, do you remember from, Peter Pan when I don't actually remember exactly what happens, but basically the kid's dad and the dog, like, get in this tussle, and they end up, like, falling out of a window or something, and then both get thrown out, and then all the kids are like, "Oh, poor Nana," and the dad is like, "Poor Nana." I think the dog was misbehaving or something.
Oh,
I think
yeah,
about that a lot.
steel trap mind,
Yeah.
Shalini. Oh, man.
Oh.
Okay, we're gonna do our best to get through the next 2 episodes in our normal time limit, but
Yeah.
it's already been, like, halfway through.
Okay. Well, I feel like this next story is quite straightforward. There aren't as many like, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened. So, all right. Episode 3. The title is Fear Thy Neighbor. This I thought was the most tragic episode out of all of them.
I agree.
All right. So, here we go. Miles and Melina are a beautiful couple. They both have children when they start dating, and they have now blended their family. They're looking for a lovely neighborhood to live in. They want a neighborhood with people of color. It's their first home together, and so they want something with a community where they can, hang out with their neighbors and stuff. So they decide to move into the neighborhood of Eastmont Hills, which is a neighborhood in Oakland, California, which is about 10 miles from where I grew up.
Nice.
I did not know about Eastmont Hills, though. So they move into this house. It's this beautiful, what did she say, a Tudor house? I don't actually know what Tudor means.
I
What
don't know
is a
either.
Tudor?
Beautiful single-family home.
Yes, beautiful. Oh, medieval inspired architectural design. Interesting. So it's a beautiful Tudor style house. It's a corner house. It's a corner unit, corner property. Has lots of windows, which actually
We don't even know the vocabulary for home homes.
what tax bracket am I in? In the bracket that doesn't know how to describe a corner house.
You are a homeowner, Shalini.
Actually, yeah, my house is an end unit, I suppose. Anyway, so they end up moving into this house that has so many windows, like an unfortunate number of windows. So Pat and Walter, who are the really adorable couple next door, they have lived in the house for 30 years. They've been renting it, and their adult son, JT, which stands for Jamal Thomas, he lives in the shed behind the house. In 2019, which is 2 years after Miles and Melina move into Eastmont Hills, Pat and Walter get evicted because their landlord has died, and the kids are figuring out the estate and they plan to sell the house. And so poor Walter and Pat have to find a new place to live. JT, I guess, is kind of on his own. Um, because Pat is staying with a friend and can't also take JT with her, so it sounds like he just didn't really have anywhere to go, and, he ends up just kind of, like, bumming around the neighborhood, entering the shed whenever he can, and just, like, generally being a nuisance in the neighborhood now that he's no longer officially living there. He has kind of developed a relationship with Miles. Whenever he's doing yard work, JT would be like, "Hey, can I help out? Can I make a few bucks?" And Miles is like, "Yeah, totally. Like, I'm here to build community, you know?" And Miles is such a sweet guy. He and Melina seem so sweet. But then, he's trying to be as nice as he can to JT once JT starts wandering around the neighborhood. But at some point, he's like, "Dude, like, you gotta leave." And then JT, I think, just fixates on Miles and Melina as the root of his difficult circumstances, even though obviously they had nothing to do with him getting evicted. But he just starts seeing them as the enemy, which is so sad. And he just starts, like, being an absolute menace, throwing rocks in their window. He throws rocks in their window so many times they end up boarding their windows up. He's, like, out on the street, he's threatening them. And the worst part is, so this is another example of a black man not wanting to escalate things to the police I think for a fair reason, because when Miles finally does call the police treats both him and JT basically the same. And it's like, you two are acting like children, you're acting like little girls. And it's like there's no respect for Miles, who is a homeowner and a father and a family man, like trying to protect his family while JT is just trespassing and like destroying property. So that was so frustrating to see.
And
Anyway,
making
yeah.
light of the situation and making light of the threat that JT said on, like,
Yes.
that was filmed on the body camera, being like, "Oh, yeah, the next time, I'm gonna kill him."
Yeah, seriously. So after he said that, they arrest him, but then release him in 2 days. It's such a joke. Also, all of this stuff is basically all happening during the pandemic. So I think there's also an air of like just, the police having other things to focus on, and the family being afraid of other people for like many reasons. On March 28th, JT chucks a huge rock at their biggest window. It goes straight through. Melina is now extremely pregnant with Miles's baby, and she is like, we need to leave. And she and Miles are like, we're leaving. So they end up packing up, moving out to an apartment a few miles away. They're feeling so at peace. They're so happy. Miles is like, I'm just going to go back to the old house and fix it up so that we can sell it. And one day when he's there gardening with his neighbors, JT comes with a gun and shoots him and kills him. And we later find out that JT had a bunch of priors that the police did not take seriously. He had been making threats, like we said, for so long, and the police failed this family so epically. It's actually horrific. Miles passes away. Miles is murdered on May 1st, 2020. On July 29th, 2020, their baby is born. Her name's Ava, and it seems like she has just embodied the spirit of Miles, which is so beautiful.
I started crying when Ava got on the screen because I
Oh,
was like, "She is so Miles, like, she looks like him." It's it's impossible to not see Miles in that child, so I
yeah,
was
it was
really
so
happy for
beautiful.
Melina.
4 years later, July 2024, JT is found guilty of murder in the first degree. A few months later, April 2025, he is sentenced to 28.8 years to life. Yeah, I don't know what blank years to life means. Let's
I
look
think
that
that's
up.
the indeterminate sentencing, right?
Oh.
So, like, indeterminate is 28.8 years, but indeterminate is 28.8 to life.
Oh, I see, I see. Okay, so it requires that the convicted individual serve a minimum of 28.8 years before they're eligible to appear before the parole board. Got it, got it, got it. Okay.
Yeah, which is why, like, that makes the first episode that we talked about, She Finally Snapped, that makes that even crazier because if he got 28.8 years to life and she got 35 years determinate
Yeah, out on parole in
out on parole
18 or
and
whatever. Yeah.
yeah, that's crazy.
Crazy. Crazy. And then since then, Melina has sued the city of Oakland and Alameda County. She ends up getting $450,000 from Oakland and 1.9 million from Alameda County because they so epically failed this family.
Yes. So I guess a total of like 2.4 million.
Yeah.
Good for her.
Good for her.
Yeah. They were absolutely in the wrong, just like the entire city just not taking it seriously at all. Like, what judge releases JT without any notification to the parole officer or like the family of which like he has
Seriously.
restraining orders against? Like, what?
Seriously, yeah, the fact that the restraining order exists, like, it's just all so crazy. Obviously, like, it was a pandemic, so I'm sure there was a lot going on in the Oakland Police Department at the time, but come on.
Yeah. I think this was definitely the most heartbreaking story of it all.
Yeah.
Because I think they just did everything right. They did anything a reasonable person would do. One, they tried to handle it with empathy. They tried to de escalate the situation. They couldn't. They decided to board up their windows. They freaking moved out, and this still happened.
So sad.
Very sad. Um, do you think justice was served?
No, I don't think so. I think the fact that JT could get out of prison means that justice was not served. And even though the family got 2.4 million, I just feel like I mean, I'm so glad she pursued that so strongly because I was really inspired by what she said about how she wants her kids to know that people will be held accountable for their wrongdoings. And so I'm glad that they had a payout. Obviously, that will never replace Miles as a person, but I'm glad something happened, but I still don't I think there's no way unless JT was put away forever, police officers were fired, like yeah. I think there was so much more justice that could have been served.
Yeah, I just think everyone was failed in this situation. Honestly, even JT was failed in this situation.
True. Very true. Yeah. I was wondering, do you think Miles and Melina ever tried calling Pat and Walter?
I was gonna ask you that too. Yeah, like if they it seems like they had a very good relationship with Pat and Walter from the start of the episode where they were on very good terms. They were really sad when they left. And so maybe Pat and Walter could have had some sway over what JT was doing.
Yeah. Because he seemed pretty tame when he was living with them.
Yeah, like no issues, but
Yeah.
who knows?
Who knows? Very
Yeah.
unfortunate.
I guess that is like the only open question is what do Pat and Walter have to say about this?
Yeah. Oh, they must be so sad and just so ashamed.
Hmm. Well, I'm glad Melina got her money.
Yeah, me too.
All right. The last case.
The last case. Let's just say,
Case.
Miles, may you rest in peace.
Oh, yeah. Rest in peace, Miles. Another pillar of the community.
Yes, truly. Oh, yeah, they had set up that church.
Yeah.
Oh
What was
my
it
gosh,
called
yeah, I
again?
forgot to mention that.
TFH.
Yeah, which I don't remember what that stood for.
The Father's something? The Father's House.
The Father's House, TFH. Yeah, he like started a church and they were raising money for his family. Oh, it's so sad.
I don't know if he founded the
Oh,
Father's House, but the Father's House is a church with many campuses. Campuses in Vacaville, Napa, East Bay, Roseville, and launching in Los Gatos.
oh, okay. Maybe
Yeah,
he started the Oakland chapter.
maybe. Yeah.
Nice.
Okay. Case number 4. It's titled The Executor.
Oh, executor.
Executor is a Pokemon.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's like this palm tree. Palm tree shaped Pokemon where the
Interesting.
coconuts are the heads. Are you looking it up? It's
Yes.
pronounced it's spelled
Yeah.
EXEGG.
Execute.
Yep, there it is.
Multi-headed palm tree.
There it
Oh my
is.
god, oh my god. Okay,
Okay.
anyway, yes, it is pronounced executor for wills.
Would you believe me if I said it that way intentionally?
To make me say executor? So that you could bring up the Pokemon? Actually, yes, I would 100% believe that.
Um, okay. Executor, as in executor of a trust slash will. Yes. Okay. This episode is all about. Oh shit! I ripped my paper. Oops. Okay, this episode takes place in Los Angeles, around 2021 to 2024 time period. Okay, so this episode is all about this woman who is named Caroline Hurling, otherwise known as Carrie. Um, okay, so I will start the story in, I guess, October 2021. There's this man, Charles Wilding, who we haven't seen in a while, and someone is using his name for financial gain and impersonating him or doing something with him, but they're using his name for gain, and they do not have his best interests at heart. And I think something bad has happened to Charles Wilding. And the homicide department lead is okay, like this is very interesting. So step one, he just like looks up to see if anyone has called in anything about Charles Welding in the database. And he actually does get a hit. Someone has called, I think it was back in October 2020 or like December 2020, sometime in that time period, where someone has called in a welfare check on Charles Wilding, one of his neighbors. And officers are dispatched to the home of Charles Wilding, where they do not see Charles, but they do see Caroline Hurling. And Caroline Hurling is there with her assistant, and they have masks on and everything because it's, I guess, COVID time. And also, they're cleaning out this house, so no big deal there. And the officers are like, hey, we called in because there was a welfare check, and we just need to see if Charles is here. And says, oh, he's in Carpinteria. I was like, Carpinteria?
That was
We were there.
we were just there. It was also so specific.
Yeah.
Like, why Carpinteria?
Okay, the only reason that Shalini and I know Carpinteria is because that's where our friend's wedding was, which is like a suburb of Santa Barbara. We didn't
Yeah.
even know it was Carpinteria until we like got there, and we were like, oh, this is technically Carpinteria and not like Santa Barbara. Anyway, so yeah, I was like, Carpinteria. And even the officers were like, Carpinteria. So anyway, they're like, okay, that's kind of weird, but whatever. Is it okay if we check the premises of the house just to make sure that he's not there? And then Carrie's like, yeah, sure, but like you might want to wear masks. Like it's like really gross in there. It's like super weird. And they're like, we'll be fine. Like we have our own masks. Like it's a little bit like some 5-minute exposure to mold is not going to kill us. And she's like, haha, okay, don't sue me, haha. And then they like walk into the house and they like do a check, a sweep through the house. They don't see really anything worth noting. I think in their eyes, it's kind of like a hoarder's home. It's just like filled with stuff. Everything's kind of like dirty and messy and just in general disarray. Um, they don't smell anything weird, which is interesting. We'll come back to that later. But everything is generally okay enough that they have swept the place. There's no Charles, but apparently he's in Carpinteria. So they're like, okay, can you just give us a call whenever Charles calls you next? We just need to know that he's okay. And then Carrie is saying like,
They
oh
don't
yeah,
got phones in Carpinteria?
yeah, Carrie's basically like, oh yeah, like it takes a while for him. Like I'll call him right now, but it takes a while for him to get back to me, like several days or something. So the police are like, okay, whatever, and they kind of just let it drop basically, until this anonymous phone call in October of 2021. So in the meantime, Carrie is kind of like a pretty neighborly type woman. She lives in this neighborhood of Beverly Glen. She has two neighbors, Bella and Ashley. Ashley is the apartment right next to hers, and Bella is right across from Ashley, and they both were interviewed for this episode. Bella and Ashley seem to have like the same like LA type of vibe. They feel like Carrie is like friendly enough, but they really don't want to be bothered by anything. They are like, a good neighbor is one that leaves me alone. So,
Yeah, literally so different from the attitude of Richmond Hills, Indiana.
so different.
I was like, those are my Californians.
I also found it very interesting that they both had the same kind of demeanor. They kind of talked
they were
like
both
they were very stiff, and
they
they
were very stiff.
over enunciated every single word. like this. I was
They
like, it's
totally
kind of like
did.
Kim Kardashian a little bit, like her
Yeah.
vibe, but maybe a little bit more subtle. I don't know. I was like, is this the LA accent now?
Yeah,
It's so
I don't
interesting.
know. You're so right. You're so right.
Yeah, they like talked without moving, which is a very foreign concept to me.
I'm always moving.
I'm flailing. Um, okay, anyway, so I didn't take as good notes here, but I guess I'll just like fast forward to like December 21 time frame. Or sorry, 2020 through 2021. So like end of 2020 through 2021. Um Caroline's behavior goes from friendly neighbor to erratic. They've
Like crack house neighbor.
Yes, they have seen vast changes in Carolyn's behavior. Carrie is up at all hours of the night. There's a bunch of like banging going on at all hours of the night. Sometimes some sounds are like louder than others, but like always at weird hours. There's like weird people hanging about at all times.
Yelling
And
past the meth.
yeah, like Ashley overhears Carrie saying like, "Oh, hand me the meth" or something, and she's like, "What the actual like there are children here." But she says that with a very straight face without moving her lips too much.
There are children here.
Yeah, so it's like it's crazy town. And of course like she has like weird characters kind of just like hanging out in front of the building with obvious ankle monitors that you can see.
There it is.
There it is, the obvious ankle monitors. People just wearing them like fashion accessories these days. And they were like,
Also, okay,
"What is going
question.
on?"
Doesn't
Oh,
ankle monitor mean you're on house arrest?
I think it's possible to have an ankle monitor and like you can't be more than some radius from some point. I
Okay,
think that's
okay.
what
So
it
it's
is.
not just like your house's radius.
I think so. I mean, I
Okay.
think like in city situations, for example, you can be on house arrest, but it means like you can't leave this like X meter block
I
around
see.
your house. Like you can still leave your house because I feel like you would still be able to do groceries and stuff, maybe, but like you just can't. I don't know. I don't know what the terms and conditions are of this single monitor.
In my experience, and by that I mean from watching the movie Disturbia,
Okay.
he could not leave his house.
Well, did he had a pretty big house though, didn't he?
Um, it was a single family home, presumably in Southern California.
Maybe there are terms and conditions to this ankle monitor. There are like ways that you can,
Mm,
I don't know. Because I would imagine that if someone like lived alone and they were on house arrest, you can't do anything to
yeah,
survive. Like
yeah,
you have to go be able to get groceries or like leave your house for to like walk around something. I don't know, right?
yeah.
It's
I don't
like
know.
isn't there some semblance of humanity that still exists today? I don't know.
I don't know.
Am I too soft?
Let's see what or let's see what ankle monitor means. What does it mean if someone has an ankle monitor? My Google search history today is crazy.
I hope you're using incognito.
I'm not. I'm using our BYR account. Okay, an ankle monitor is a secure, tamper-resistant. Okay, wait. Blah blah blah. Alternative to incarceration, allowing individuals to maintain employment and family responsibilities while complying with court-ordered restrictions. Okay, so employment presumably means they can leave their home.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
because otherwise, like, you can only work remote jobs. And, like, I don't know. That's, yeah. Great. Okay. So
Great.
that's what an ankle monitor means. Okay. So, anyway, suspicious characters are hanging outside this Beverly Glen apartment, like, apartment condos unit. Anyway,
Yeah.
it's like a very safe neighborhood generally. So, the fact that there are suspicious characters hanging out outside this building is like red flags. All the neighbors have red flags. So they start documenting all of these scenarios where Carrie is just like being a bad neighbor and like all these suspicious characters. And they file a formal complaint to, I think, whatever board, HOA board is there. Turns out Carrie hasn't even been paying her rent. So they evict her. So they evict her in July 2022. She ends up buying a house somewhere and then starts a sober living facility. And that is in quotes because the neighbor of that new place that she's in is like, there is no way that there is no attempt at sober living at this place whatsoever. People are up from 8 a.m. to 2 a.m. playing loud music. They're like smoking pot all the time. They are
We
drinking all
got
the time.
nighthawks and larks in this house.
Yeah, okay. When she said the music was playing at 8 a.m., I was like, 8 a.m.?
Yeah, me too. I was like, that's rather early for people that are up till 2 a.m.
Yeah, I was like, 6 hours of sleep.
That's it.
That's it.
I guess when you're on
Anyway,
meth, you don't need that much sleep.
I guess not. And I hope that we never find out. Um, Corporate America is our meth. No,
Oh
just kidding.
my God. I don't get a high from corporate America, okay? Corporate America could never.
Oh my God. Um, anyway, so suspicious characters at this quote unquote sober living facility. Nothing good is happening here. During this time, this is from 2022 to January 2023, like Carrie is basically living it up. There's like no semblance that she is holding on a job whatsoever. Huge question mark where she has the money to buy this house in the first place. This is LA we're talking about, okay? um, on January 12th, 2023, the police raid Carrie's house. They find it stock full of people and guns and fake FBI badges, police badges, meth, so like controlled substances, like anything that you can think of that Dare warned you against is in this freaking house. So, like, what is going on here? So they arrest Carrie in the raid because they have found evidence that Carrie's trust on Charles Wilding's estate or whatever is all forged, like completely bogus. They finally have evidence that, all this is fake. They arrest her. But they're like, what happened to Charles? Where is Charles? They talk to Carrie about it. They find documents. I think they find documents in Carrie's place that shows that there are like a number of accounts that are basically linked to the Charles Wilding trust accounts to Carrie's accounts, and that she's spending all this money, which a true trustee would never do. And they find out that one of the co-owners of one of these accounts is a man named Jason Croft. So they find Jason Croft just 2 weeks later, January 24th, 2023. They find him in some like random motel in Los Angeles. They bring him in. They find that they know that he's a career criminal, that he like breaks into homes basically all the time and like steals watches and jewelries and everything. So they arrest Jason Croft. They're like, what happened to Charles? Literally, no one can tell us what happened to Charles. Carrie keeps lying to us. We don't know if this man is alive or not. Jason finally is able to explain what happened to Charles.
Before that, when they're questioning Carrie about it the first time, she's like, I think he's a woman now. And they're like, what?
Yeah, that was wild. I was like,
that was the craziest thing.
what are you talking about? So they finally get the full story from Jason Croft. They talk to Jason, and Jason's like, well, here's what happened. I saw this house. I saw that there was an elderly man that lived here. Apparently what happened is he did a fake welfare check on this guy, Charles, while he was still alive. Basically to target the house, came back months later, broke into the house, started stealing stuff, but then like smelled something off and then finds out that Charles has died like weeks ago or something like this. It has been in Jason's words, it's been a minute since this man has been alive. He says there are like rats in his mouth or something. It is like not good. So he does find financial documents, though, in Charles's house and finds out that Charles has no heirs and has a large sum of money to his name. And he's like, okay, we can do something here. So he ends up calling his meth connection slash lover, Carrie. And he says, Carrie, like, what do we do here? And Carrie comes and basically takes control of the situation. She ends up creating the scenario where she acts as the trustee to Charles's estate and goes through remarkable lengths to ensure that Charles is thought of as alive. Because the moment that Charles is actually considered dead in the eyes of the state, there's no reason for her to be a trustee anymore. So all her money goes away. So that's why she goes through these lengths to make sure that Charles is still alive. She ends up, I think, with her assistant trying to like clean up Charles's corpse. It's like not good. And actually, the day that the officers go to do a welfare check on Charles back in 2021 is actually when they were trying to like clean up the body still in that house. So it's actually later that day that Carrie takes the body back to her then Beverly Glen apartment with the help of her assistant. They do like a variety of Breaking Bad things in order to like break down the body. They do like the tub with the acid and everything. And to deal with it all, they start doing meth, start doing drugs. I mean, I think they were not strangers to meth before this, I don't think. So I think it's like they continue to do meth
Yes,
to
it just
deal with
simply
it.
escalated.
Yes. So they are basically like just doing horrible, terrible things to this body to get it to like decompose and break down and whatever. They end up with the bones and they decide to like go to SF and then just dump it in the bay because one of their friends has a boat in SF. And that's their solution to this problem, which is so disgusting.
So
Ugh.
disgusting.
So anyway, Jason basically comes clean about all of this stuff. And the police are like, okay, we got to put Carrie under a polygraph. So on May 16th, 2023, Carrie does the polygraph, finally comes clean and even admits that Charles is dead. Because before this, she was all like, I don't know where he is. I don't know. Carpinteria. I think he's staying with some friends. He's like doing all of these things. Finally, under the polygraph, she comes clean because this is basically her one chance at reducing her sentence. Um, and I don't think, what did I write? Oh yes, okay. So
And
on,
I'll also add that the way she described everything that happened was so stone-faced and like so matter of fact, as if what she did wasn't the most disgusting, horrific thing you could possibly do to a dead body.
yeah, it was so horrible. It's just like, what a
Ugh.
psychopath,
And then like
honestly.
siphoning the liquid remains out of her apartment and into the yard and killing all the plants is so gross.
Disgusting. So disgusting. Um, yeah, and then it turns out that like transporting the body from Charles's place to Beverly Glen, they had to do that, of course, at like 2 or 3 a.m. And there was like a lot of thunks and like a lot of loud noises. And that was actually something that her neighbors clocked and was like, oh, yeah, there was this one night that was like really different from the rest of the nights. So it was just like so much banging and like loud noises. And we're like, what the heck is going on? And that was the night that, she brought the body back. Blech. Anyway,
Blech.
okay, in justice time. In March 15th, 2024, Caroline was sentenced to 20 years in prison and was charged $3.8 million in restitution. Jason was charged 16 years and 8 months and also 1.9 million in restitution. Caroline's assistant was not charged.
Yeah, I thought that was crazy that she was not charged with anything.
I couldn't even find her name. I was like, this is so weird. Who is this person? So, theory number one, Caroline's assistant was the one who called in, who did the anonymous phone call. That's one theory.
Mm, that's a good
Because,
one.
like the police said, this was basically a perfect crime. Like, Charles didn't have any heirs. All he had were, good neighbors who asked to do a welfare check on him.
Yeah.
And that's what they found. Otherwise, they would have gone away with it.
Interesting. I like it. What are your other theories?
She just got lucky.
Oh, it's a good one.
But I think so, because there's no way that they wouldn't know who she is, right?
Yeah, for sure. Like she was in that video of them pulling up to the house and stuff. So I'm sure
Yeah.
they knew who she was. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm
Maybe
sure she was also
she
like co-owners of some of the accounts. Like if she's helping
probably.
Caroline with the body, I'm sure she got paid to do that.
Yeah, for sure. The other possibility is that she cooperated so much with the cops early on that they like let her off for free.
It's possible.
Yeah. Or maybe some combination of like, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
But
know.
I just thought it was very interesting how they called out that
Yes.
she was not
They
charged.
really did call it out. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I have a fun fact about this. Kind of
Oh,
a weird fact, actually.
okay.
Okay. So while investigating Hurling's bank record, Carrie's bank records, authorities found a September 2021 wire transfer from the sale of an Encino home owned by a man identified as 53-year-old Robert Taskin. Taskin, according to court documents, suffered mental health issues and took his own life a year later. So I think this is the house that she moved into to do the sober living facility. I think that's the
Mm,
home. But isn't that, do you think there was foul play?
interesting. I would totally believe it. Absolutely. Was that also the home where she was like, "Oh, you're in real estate? Do you want to buy this house that I have?"
Oh, yeah. It's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's possible.
That was so random.
So weird. Um, okay. Do you think justice was served?
I think yes, because there was no murder in this. It was just kind of financial crime plus like really disgusting things done to a dead body, but no murder. So I think the prison sentence plus the restitution is appropriate.
Do you think Jason was telling the truth that Charles was already dead? Or do you think
I think so because I believe that A, because he seemed like he was telling the truth, which obviously, who knows if he was actually telling the truth. But to me, it seemed like he was like, "All right, I got nothing to lose. I'm just gonna let it rip." And then B, because they found that stain of like a dead body that had been there for a long time, and I feel like if they had murdered him, they wouldn't have just left him there. So that makes me think that they did just stumble upon his dead body.
yeah, that's fair. What did you think of Carrie's spreadsheet of other people who also had no family and a lot of money?
Dude, crazy, crazy spreadsheet to have. That's not even password protected, probably.
Why would it be?
Just lying about.
Just fucking Zillow links.
Oh my god. That was crazy.
Yeah. And then my other question is, what was the plan with all the guns and the badges?
That was also my question. I don't know what I mean, maybe those weren't hers and they were just like the other people in the house were planning something crazy.
You think they were playing cops and robbers in there at all hours? Like,
8 a.m. to 2 a.m.
the biggest game of cops and robbers.
I don't know. Maybe if we were to link this to her scheme, maybe if they had shown up to an old person's door as the FBI and they're like, "We need to see all your financial documents," or something. An old
That's what I
person
think
might
too.
have, yeah, that's very
Yeah,
sad.
that's what I think too. Some kind of like scheme to intimidate people to like sign over their financial documents to her. Something like that.
Yeah, so sad.
So sad.
Do you think justice was served?
I think so. I think if we take the story at face value, then yes.
Mm.
I think it was. But I don't know if this is one of those things like, okay, so this is like Caroline was sentenced 20 years in prison. Like, does that does that mean 5 years in actual prison and then she's just like wearing an ankle monitor for 15? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. But I'm glad that is she needs to pay 3.8 million in restitution.
Yes.
Yeah. Um
And
I kind of think
how much did Jason have to
I
pay?
was just about to say.
Oh,
So Jason got 16 years and 8 months, and
okay.
Caroline got 20 years.
Okay.
So I think there's part of me that's like, Jason, I feel, unfortunately got the short end of the stick here. Let's assume that he didn't kill Charles. He was telling the truth. He just happened upon Charles. He got 140,000 out of that deal that they did, and she got
2
two
million or something.
houses and like many more millions of dollars. I don't know how many, I don't know. Let's say at least 3.8 million. And Jason got 140K. Is it weird to feel bad for Jason?
How much did he have to pay in restitution?
1.9
Okay, yeah, when I
million.
heard that, I was like, dude, how is this guy gonna give 1.9 million in restitution? You're just setting him up for failure.
I think the only thing is that it's not like he's a good guy. Let's be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah.
Like,
No, not in a way that I feel bad for him. I'm just like, in what world is Jason Croft paying $1.9 million? Does this man
yeah,
look like he has a savings account?
that's the other thing is like, how do people pay this back?
Yeah.
And what happens when they can't?
Right.
Is it just a number on a paper then? Like what? I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, unclear. But
Crazy.
yeah, I kind of do feel bad for Jason, even though I feel like I shouldn't. I don't know. It's weird. Just feels like he got the short end of the stick.
Wrong place at the wrong time, working with the wrong people.
Yeah. And Carolyn's assistant wasn't charged anything.
Yeah, crazy.
Crazy. Uh, well, that's that. And so our very last question. Will you be watching Worst Roommate Ever or Worst Ex Ever?
Probably not, but not because I didn't like the show. I actually was quite hooked on every single episode of the show. Um, but I just don't think I love, like, I don't know. These stories were too sad. I thought it would be like kind of funny, Worst Neighbor Ever, but it was not funny and it was just very sad.
It was not funny. Yeah, that's all true crime.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I was a little thrown off by the animation, like the cartoon
Mm.
stuff. I don't know. What did you think about that?
I actually liked it because I think it kept me hooked because it wasn't just, in Should I Marry a Murderer, they just had all these montages of people like the back of someone's head
Yeah.
and stuff. I
The
thought
girl
this was,
jumping on the guy.
yeah, yeah. So I thought this was a much better way to tell the story than that.
Yeah. I think I was a little weirded out at first. I was like, what is this? Like Microsoft Paint animation
Yeah.
going on? But by the end, I think I got pretty used to it. And I agree. I
Yeah.
think it was better to see that than the same acting, like shadowy acting.
Yeah. Like random shadowy montages. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think we nailed it. I think an hour and a half. It was
All
pretty good.
right.
Yeah. Um, should we rate?
Let's do it.
Okay. Let's rate and then we won't do binge in progress. Because
Okay.
I feel like this episode has gone on long enough.
Sounds great.
Okay.
Do you want to go first?
Sure. Okay. I think quality, I will give it, I guess, a 3 out of 5. And enjoyment, I will say 3 out of 5.
Nice. I will also give enjoyment a 3 out of 5. And then quality, I'm actually going to give a 4. The only knock I have is that I thought episode 4 was told in a really chaotic way that I found a little harder to follow compared to the other ones.
Oh, yeah.
And I
I
was like,
actually
what?
did notice.
Yeah, like, what's the timeline? What are we still in the pandemic? What's going on? And then, yeah, there were just too many houses. I don't know.
Yeah. In episode 4, actually, I think they had like an issue with their reporting because the homicide detective guy, he says that, oh, in October 21, I received this anonymous phone call, but I actually noticed that in December 2020, there was another call where officers were dispatched. And then the timeline, like, does that timeline thingy, and it goes back, in quotes, to October 2021, and then
Okay,
they
yeah.
play the body cam footage. And I'm like, what?
Did they flip the, like, future versus past direction
I
or
think so, but
something?
then they also mislabeled it. It should have said December
Oh,
2020.
yeah. Okay, that's why I was confused.
Yeah.
Yes.
I watched that
Yeah.
scene like 3 times when I was writing up my notes, and I was like, this is wrong. Like, they just did this incorrectly. Because they also said October 2021, 10 months before they got the anonymous phone call. And I was like, he literally said he got the
No.
phone call in October 2021.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah. That was so, yeah, 4 out of 5. Maybe that actually deserves to bring it down to a 3. Maybe.
Nice.
Nice. Oh, we're matching.
Yeah.
All right, 6 out of 10. I think that's fair.
Yeah. I feel like I feel similarly. I don't think I will watch Worst Ex Ever or Worst Roommate Ever. Unless
Yeah.
any yappers want us to. If you liked this format, let us know and we'll do another bonus episode for you or something.
Yeah.
If you didn't like this format and you wanted us to focus on just one episode, you should watch Should I Marry a Murder?
But don't tell us that you wanted us to do it differently.
If you don't like true crime, check out Off Campus on Amazon Prime Video. Any other recommendations to
Let
our
me
yappers?
think. It's too late for me to be creative right now. Sorry. I'm sorry.
If you would prefer fictional crime, check out Department Q.
If you like Scottish accents, watch Department Q.
If you like bad fake crime, check out Untamed.
If you like Australian accents, watch Heartbreak High.
My God. Please turn this episode off. We have nothing more to say here.
If you like, thanks for yapping with us. If you loved this episode, have some hot takes we missed, or if you've got a show you're dying for us to binge next, follow us on socials. We're at bingeyaprepeat.
Until next time, happy binging.